His brothers were jealous of him because they saw that he might have control over their inheritance, over this money and power that belonged to them. Now, why they couldn't see that if they had to share it among themselves, that their father wouldn't arrange that it would be shared among all of them and this youngest son, I don't know. I'm the youngest son, so I can identify with Joseph. And I told my older brothers, I see these sheaves bowing down before me, just to taunt them a little. But Joseph wasn't like that. He wasn't sticking it in the face of those older brothers. He was living in the life and in the grace of the favor of his father. And so this envy, this jealousy that they had towards this younger brother, it drove them to do something that they would normally be incapable of. And that's what I think is important for us to remember today, that we are capable of doing things that normally we wouldn't imagine if we creep further and further or allow ourselves to creep into a life of sin and not to have things rooted out from our lives during this Lenten season and allow God's grace to move or work more fully or deeper in our hearts. The other day at a noon mass, Father Mitch Pacwa said that, we hear this as priests, that people come up and say, well, I don't need to go to confession. I didn't kill anybody. And Father Mitch's response to that was, well, that's true. You are a very, very, very good person if you use as your model for life Al Capone. But we are to use as the model of our lives as Christians Jesus Christ. And so we're mindful of a whole lot of things where we're not like him and where we need to become like him. And so I would simply push your minds ahead. We know that in the passage of the first reading, Joseph is sold into slavery in Egypt. We know what he endures there, and then he finds the favor of the king. And look at the passage of when his brothers come to ask for help in Egypt, and they do not recognize who Joseph is. And he recognizes them. And this is where we can see in this passage really the fulfillment in Jesus Christ. In our sinfulness and in our errors, we fail to recognize who he is. We're looking right at him and we don't know him. And yet Jesus never loses sight of who we are. As we come into his presence, he knows us immediately. As did Joseph, he knew his brothers. And he put aside his resentments and his bitterness. He could have messed these people up forever. But he looks at these men and he thinks, how long is it going to take before they really see who I am? That I'm one of them, that I'm their brother. And the powerful scene of Joseph leaving their presence and going and weeping that they don't know him, and then going to them and revealing himself to them. And in doing that, in essence, forgiving them and restoring them in that relationship with him. That total forgiveness, restoring that relationship as brothers, as a family, and then sharing with them his favor and the blessing that he has received and the riches that have been entrusted to him, and giving them salvation, giving them life. And if Joseph is only a promise or a type or a prefigurement of what we have in Jesus Christ, we realize we cannot fathom the tremendous love and mercy of God.